Two flying squirrels glided from two different points on the same tree, represented by TE in the diagram below. One squirrel glided from a height of 35 feet and the other from a height of 105 feet. Their gliding paths are represented by RS and EF in the diagram shown. The question says, if triangle RST is similar to triangle EFT, what is the length in inches of ST? The first thing you guys need to do is to underline, well, I'm going to highlight the question, because you always need to know what they are asking you to do. Now, within the question, there's two things that we need to look at. Number one, this word similar, okay? And also, if you've noticed, and what you should have noticed, is bold writing. Anytime you see anything in all capital letters or in bold, you need to make sure you pay special attention to those things because it means something. Now, as far as similar, it's a vocabulary term. It means, when you're talking about shapes, it means they have the same shape, but they're different sizes, okay? And in inches, if you notice in the problem that we just read, everything is in feet, okay? In the problem itself, as well as the diagram, in feet. But in the question, they want to know what the length is in inches. So that should tell you that at the very end, you're going to do some type of conversion, okay? So let's get started. Now, back to the problem. It basically says this. There were two squirrels gliding from the same tree. They started at the same tree, which would be this line right here, which is ET. One squirrel started at 105 feet and glided to F. The other squirrel started at R, which is at 35 feet, and glided to S. Now the question says, if triangle, and that little symbol means triangle, if triangle RST is similar to triangle EFT, what is the length in inches of ST? Well, we know that TF is 315. So we're actually looking to find this. And to take another look at it, I'm going to drop this. Okay? So if we took these two triangles apart, it will look like this. One squirrel started from here. One squirrel started from here. One squirrel landed here, which is 315 feet away. But we need to figure out what this, how far this squirrel actually glided. So that, looking at this and seeing it from this point of view, it should tell you, 7th and 8th grade especially, that you need to write a proportion. Okay? And a proportion simply means two ratios that are equal. Okay? Now what we have to do is this. We're going to take our information here. In other words, what this means is this. This side of the triangle corresponds to this side of the smaller triangle. This side corresponds to this side. And when you're writing your proportion, you want to make sure it doesn't matter where you start, but wherever you start, you got to make sure one side corresponds with the other. So what I'm going to do is start with my X. Okay? So I'm going to say X over. Now what side corresponds with the X? I hope you guys said 315. So I'm going to put 315 here. And is equal to, since I started with the small triangle, I'm going to start with my second ratio with the small triangle. So 35 would be my numerator, okay, over 105. So now I have X over 315 equals 35 over 105. Okay? So, since this is an 8th grade problem, we have our calculators here. Now, anytime you're solving proportions, and I've been walking through classrooms and seeing this a lot. Um, you cross multiply. Where do you start? It doesn't matter. But as a simple rule of thumb, I always taught my students to start with the variable. So when you cross multiply x times 105, you get 105x. And I hope you're writing this down on your paper. Equals, now cross multiply 35 times 315. Well, my handy dandy calculator, let me get my select, clear it out. I have 35 times 315 equals, can you guys see that? 11,025. So let me get my pen back. I'll take blue. I get 11,025. Okay? Now, from here, this becomes an equation. Okay? And you guys should know now that to solve an equation, you use what they call inverse operation. In other words, you perform the opposite of the operation. Well, what operation is here? I have 105x equals 11,025. 105x means 105 times x. So the opposite of multiplying by 105 is, I know some of you said it in your classrooms, dividing by 105. Okay? Now, the thing with solving an equation is whatever you do to one side of the equal sign, you must, you have to do it to the other side as well. Okay? This side cancels out, which leaves our x, because we're trying to isolate the variable, trying to get the x by itself. Okay? So that cancels out, leaving just the x. On the other side, let's go back to the calculator. We already have 11,025 in. Let's say divide by 105 equals 105. Get my pen back. Look. So this is 105. It's right because 105 times 105 is 11,025. Now, so for this ST, we got x equals 105. But this is in, remember, feet. Okay? You have to be careful with units of measure. But the answer they want the answer in inches. So we have 105 feet. How do we convert that to inches? Well, what do you know about inches and feet? We know that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So if I have 105 feet, I think I need to multiply 105 times 12. Okay? So I'm going to get my select tool, go back to my calculator, clear it out just to make sure. I have 105 times 12 equals 1,260. So go back to my pen. I'm going to pick red this time. When you multiply this out, you get 1,260 inches. Okay? Now, the last step, of course, is to put our answer in a complete sentence. If RST is similar to triangle EFT, what is the length in inches of ST? So we can say the length that little clicking noise is, I'm having to write this with using my mouse. The length of ST, capital S, capital T, make sure you're getting all this down to get credit, is 1,260 inches, period. And that is it. Oh, not so fast, Miss Wilder. We got a gridded response box up here. So you have to grid it in. Now, let me tell you the key to this. This little doohickey right here is the negative sign. So if you have negative numbers, that's how you grid it. But we don't have a negative number. So you can either start right here and go this way, or you can start from the back. So we will start from the back. So I'm going to do 0, 6, 2, and 1. But make sure, oh, this is a teachable moment. Erase completely. When you take the FCAT or any test where you have to bubble in, make sure you erase completely. This is 1, this is 2, this is 6, and this is 0. Now, did I do it okay? Well, I see some bubble completely. Okay? Now, you guys see me taking my time to do this because I want to be a good example for you and make sure I bubble in completely. Alrighty? So, now we're done.